Hey everyone, Jer Inguagiato, CBRE, Silicon Valley.
And Dylan Plain, we are very excited to give you a brief update on the Silicon Valley commercial real estate market and Q3 2025 stats.
Yeah, let's talk big three, office, R&D, industrial. What's happening in those leasing and sale markets, trends that we're seeing that are emerging, some dynamics that we're excited to tell you about. Let's kick it off with supply. What's going on with vacancy? Office, it's down. We peaked out a year ago at 20% vacancies. They're coming in at 16.6%, roughly 300 basis points of change negatively. A lot of leasing activity going on in those markets, taking advantage. The R&D markets, year over year, the vacancy is flat, coming in at 11.9%, and industrial slight uptick from a year ago, 3%. Today we're 4.1%. Couple trends we want to point out to you. Construction, still no new construction. There's one user office project under construction in the Silicon Valley. There are no R&D buildings under construction. We've got about 2 million square feet of industrial. And then the other trend we're seeing, and this is a 20-year-old trend, we'll share a little bit of research with you that shows this trend line. Basically, R&D buildings are getting repositioned for different uses, oftentimes multifamily or advanced manufacturing, but nonetheless, the base is getting reduced. Between industrial and R&D, we've converted roughly 28 million square feet and reduced that base, and we're continuing to see that trend. Today, we're tracking somewhere between 4 and 5 million square feet. It's about 15 to 20 projects. We've highlighted 14 of them on this slide for you to just give you a sense. These are all core plus locations, and we think that these trends are going to play into vacancy rates, into leasing absorption, and they will play into lease rates. So we want to keep our eye on these trends. I'll pass the presentation over to Dylan to talk to you a bit about demand.
Thanks, Jer. Quickly, just touching on net absorption, year over year for all three asset classes, office, R&D, and industrial, we posted better numbers. For office, almost 750,000 square feet of positive net absorption this quarter. Databricks is really the leader in the clubhouse for that asset class. They leased over 300,000 square feet in Sunnyvale, which we're going to touch on a little later. For R&D, flat, plus 60,000 square feet, over 140 million square feet of inventory, not a lot of movement. That's going to be a trend that you'll see throughout this presentation. I believe it's because those are kind of manufacturing or lab facilities, not that easy to pick up and move. So you just don't see as much fluctuation in the vacancy. Industrial, another positive quarter, 600,000 square feet of net absorption, a couple large new transactions at new recently built facilities. In terms of tenant demand for office and R&D users, we track those as one data set. We have over 10 million square feet of active demand in those asset classes right now. In comparison, a year ago, we had 6 million square feet. 2 years ago, at the trough of this cycle, we had 2.3 million square feet. So we're almost 4x from the trough, and that 10 million number is right around where we were pre-COVID. I will quickly share the screen to talk about some of the industries we're seeing who are active in the market. On the left-hand side, you have the top 25 office leases of the quarter. Not much of a surprise, but tech, software, and AI really led the charge. We're dominant with over 70% of the top 25 leases. On the right-hand side for R&D, a bit more even distribution. Aerospace and defense, energy, semiconductor, and automotive all accounted for about 10 to 20% of the top leasing. And then hardware led the charge with over 37% of the top leases. Those are your chip makers, server rack manufacturers, who are very active with in the market, a lot of data center demand, makes a lot of sense. I mentioned earlier the Databricks transaction. That was the largest new lease of the quarter, over 300,000 square feet. We just wanted to touch on kind of what occurred. In the lower left-hand corner, you can see where they were initially located, more of a Class B facility. They occupied about 60,000 square feet here, and they expanded fivefold into 300,000 square feet at a brand new construction facility in downtown Sunnyvale, really leveraging the access to Caltrain, transportation, amenities, all delivering kind of that superior workplace experience that these top occupiers want these days. I'll pass the baton to Jerry to talk about a pretty exciting development in our industrial and data center markets locally.
Yeah, we thought we'd share with you this press release that was issued at the end of July. City of San Jose and PG&E formed an agreement whereby PG&E is going to deliver 2 gigawatts of power, 2,000 megawatts, starting in 2028. This is huge news for our market, in particular for the data center markets and the high power availability requirements that are out there. We've been choked off over the last couple of years. And so this is really welcome news, because at the end of the day, the economy is all about power. And we are seeing direct market impacts in a positive light in the form of new deal flow, new tenant requirements. In North San Jose, we recently saw a large 40-acre plus sale with a developer who plans to bring data center and advanced manufacturing needed in the marketplace. There's been another large announcement from another developer in North San Jose bringing data center capacity to market. We're personally working with a number of groups that are in the market looking to acquire land for data center development. Some clients of ours are looking for high power availability. So we are seeing there's a positive reflection in the market with this news, and it's having a profound impact in the market in terms of asset value, land value, and building value. I'm going to switch this conversation, talk, and close out our presentation with a discussion around lease rates. What's happening with lease rates in the office arena? Generally, they're flat year over year. We've seen about a 3% increase on asking rates. R&D is truly flat. A year ago, average asking rates were $288 a foot, and that's where they are today. Pretty amazing. And industrial, slight uptick from a year ago, $1.70, over 100 million square foot base to $1.75 on average. So about a 3% increase. The one area to shine a light on is Class A office. Class A office saw about a 12% increase in average asking rates over that 12-month period. And really, if you drill down on it, Dylan highlighted what a Class A offering represents in the market. And those are the folks that clearly have a diminishing asset class and have pricing power in the market. There are two other areas that we wanted to point out to you in terms of leasing trends, specifically small industrial multi-tenant projects. Dylan and I recently, at the end of last year, sold a 50,000 square foot project on 4 acres in Santa Clara. You can see it highlighted in the aerial. It's surrounded by a number of end users, tech end users. And one of those end users recently acquired a multi-tenant 130,000 square foot project. And there's roughly a roster of 100 tenants that are getting displaced into the market. Well, the project that we sold had one available suite that was left. And what's interesting is that at the end of last year, as we were selling this project, the seller at the time was doing deals in that project at $260 a foot industrial gross. We brought this summer the last remaining suite that was market readied, new paint, new carpet. It's about a 60-40 dispersion, 60% office, 40% warehouse. We brought that to market, and a tenant from across the way in one of those projects that the large end user acquired came to us and signed a lease at roughly a 14% premium to where the last deal was signed because they are running out of viable options. It was cleaned, it was prepared, it was ready. And so we thought that was an interesting case study to share with y'all. And lastly, we want to point out there have been a number of value add deals where investors have come in, acquired sites at discounts, and then passed the discounting savings through lease rates to the market. There's one project in particular, the Quad. The owner has been very successful acquiring the site, properly acquiring it, passing savings onto the market through rent, reduced rents, leasing incentives, free rent, and they've had a very successful business filling the property. They've seen significant lease take up, and it's given them wind in their sails and given them confidence to push rents. They've pushed rents in that project about 10 to 12%. And so we do believe in closing that generally it's a tenant-friendly market, but we do believe there are segments of this market that occupiers need to keep their eye on because the supply side does have unique leverage in those areas. And so in closing, if you have any questions with our research, as always, please phone, email. All of our research is available online. We've got a dedicated research team. If you needed research prepared for you, we're happy to provide that kind of intelligence. And we do appreciate your time. We wish you all the best for a strong end of year finish and a healthy holiday. All the best to you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.